All right, now Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman unveiled India's interim budget for the year 2024, showcasing the nation's stellar economic ascent. The overarching theme of the budget is focused on empowering the poor and eradicating corruption and nepotism. Drawing a stark comparison between 2014 and 2024, Sitharaman highlighted the monumental strides India has taken in these 10 long years. The global community witnessed India's commitment to fostering inclusive growth, exemplified by initiatives aimed at equal resource distribution. Now, Sitharaman's emphasis on India's G20 presidency and the country's adept navigation through the global challenges of the pandemic underscored the nation's resilience. The finance minister's assertion of macroeconomic stability, robust investments and a thriving economy positioned India as a reliable partner on the global stage. The successful management of the pandemic-induced crisis spoke volumes about India's adaptability and crisis resilience.
Average real income of the people has increased by 50%. Inflation is moderate. People are getting empowered, equipped, and enabled to pursue their aspirations.
The budget laid out ambitious targets for the fiscal year 2025, including a capital expenditure outlay that is 11% more than the previous budget. This not only signaled India's commitment to infrastructure development, but also hinted at sustained economic growth. Sitharaman's vision for the next 5 years focused on unprecedented development with the goal of making India a developed country by the year 2047. The Finance Minister delved into sector-specific initiatives with a particular focus on agriculture, education and women empowerment. Initiatives like the Lakpati Didi scheme aimed at empowering women and the plan to upgrade 40,000 trains to Vande Bharat standards showcased India's commitment to holistic development. The commitment to building 20 million houses in the next 5 years and the push for electric vehicles underscored India's dedication to sustainable and inclusive growth. The global economic community observed India's fiscal prudence and commitment to fiscal deficit targets. What a fiscal deficit target of 5.1% of GDP for financial year 2025, India aimed to strike a balance between economic growth and fiscal responsibility. The budget outlined key indicators such as GDP growth, market borrowing and subsidies, presenting a comprehensive picture of India's economic health. Now for more on this, we are being joined by Mitali Nikor from Delhi. She is an economist and founder of Nikor Associates. Welcome to the broadcast, Ms. Nikor.
Thank you so much.
Now, one of the criticisms that have come for the interim budget is that not much has been done for the MSMEs. Now, this is a sector that is touted as the backbone of India's economy. After all, they contribute more than 29% of the GDP and are responsible for 50% of India's total exports. Why do you think the budget did not talk much about it?
So I think, it's about whether it was highlighted in the budget speech or whether there was an actual, policy for MSMEs that has been put in place. So actually in 2023-24, MSMEs were a huge focus of the budget. And there was a large increase that was made in the budget for the MSMEs. It was increased by almost 50% in 2023-24. The level of spending on MSME ministry in 24-25 is almost exactly the same as 23-24, standing at about 22,000 crores. So in such a situation, when a scheme for MSMEs, a new scheme was launched in 23-24, it is going well, the uptake has been good, the expenditure of the ministry has been quite in line with the expected allocations, because in India sometimes the challenge becomes, is the ministry actually being able to spend the money which has been allocated to it? And MSME ministry has done well. in actually, the expenditure has been very close to the allocated expenditure, and therefore in this year the budget has remained flat. What has been emphasized for MSMEs is the regulatory question, because this is one challenge that MSMEs are facing again and again, which is compliance and easing their, burden, easing the cost of doing business, easing the processes, reducing compliance burdens. And I think this was clearly recognized in the budget speech. And of course, this is an interim budget, so we can't have the entire plan. But it was clear that the direction that has been set is that the cost of doing business for MSMEs has to be reduced. The regulatory burden has to be, simplified.
Absolutely.
And the have to be improved.
Right. Mr. Kaur, the Indian Finance Minister also claimed that the government has funded 30 crore loans to women entrepreneurs. If you could assess for us, how far has the government come in terms of backing this crucial sector, and what more can we do?
So I think, what I absolutely love about the current administration's commitment to Nari Shakti is that it comes straight from the top and then percolates down to all the levels. So that has been done very, very well. There is a commitment in the ministry which has now percolated down to industry to increase women's workforce participation. And this time, the announcement about Lakhpati Didis, the announcement about covering ASHA workers and Anganwadi workers under the Ayushman Bharat scheme has been very good. However, what I would have liked to see more, definitely, and there's no end to the demands, right, for a gender activist. What I would have definitely liked to see more is more emphasis on care economy, more allocation for the Palna scheme, which is a new scheme that has just been launched, more allocation for Mission Shakti, which is the backbone of all the women economic empowerment initiatives. So definitely, those schemes, it would have been good to see a little more allocation for them. At this point, they have been kept flat. So that's what I noticed in the numbers, very similar to last year's levels.
Now, as expected, this interim budget seemed to be more of a report card than talk about what's coming, of course. But if you could briefly, taking the points from here, of course, taking the points from what Nirmala Sitharaman had to say today, what should one expect from the upcoming annual budget that we're expecting in the month of June or July?
So I think it's very hard to say what the annual budget would be because we don't know which government would be presenting it.
Right.
But if we assume that it's the same government, and the administration remains similar, then the path has been set for increased allocation, definitely for women-led development. And I think when we move forward, we can see more and more allocations for easing the conditions for women to work, access financing, accessing markets for women entrepreneurs, support for self-help groups. Definitely that will be one focus. And the second focus, which was clear today, was on the clean energy and green industries, that has been advocated, because we have talked about rooftop solar. Today it was announced that nearly 1 crore households, or rather 10 million households, will receive free electricity of 300 units if they install a rooftop solar facility. And similarly, there have been announcements made for easing electric vehicle procurement, for more charging infrastructure, and also a viability gap funding scheme for wind energy. So, looking at this entire gamut of investments that is being announced into clean energy, into biomass, plants, this is a direction that is clearly a long-term direction, not a short-term direction. So that was definitely expected in the future.
All right. Economist Mithali Nikor, thank you so much for speaking with us and getting us all those insights from Delhi.
Thank you.